Rolling.
Welcome back. This is another episode of the Catch the Sky podcast. You may find us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts by searching for the Catch the Sky podcast. Be sure to like and share with your friends. In studio with us this week is Dick Francisco. Welcome in, Dick.
Thank you, T. I'm happy to be back.
You may find Dick on Instagram by searching the Dick Francisco or on Twitter at I'm Dick Francisco. And this week, I think we wanted to talk about when do we know or when should we let things go?
Yeah. I feel like that's such a good beginning of the year kind of conversation, right?
Yeah. So there's times where we know where things are trending, like Tom Brady, for example.
Right. That's kind of our impetus, right? That's some big news.
Deciding
know
to
when
retire.
to hold him, know when to walk away.
Yeah, because he's got a family and shit. See, this is why I don't have kids, is because then shit like this happens. Then they're getting blamed unfairly.
Oh, yeah.
The
Tom Brady wants to go hang out with his model wife. How dare he?
Right, yeah. So they shouldn't be getting blamed for anything. But at the same time, he shouldn't be having kids because he knew at some point this was going to happen. It's like, bro.
But can we not say, though, this is why I think Tom Brady is the greatest impetus for this discussion is he's the oldest quarterback in the NFL. No longer active because he retired today, but when he was. And so he's been doing it for a really long time. One of the best, if not the best. He came into the league as, what was it, the 199th draft pick in 2000?
Sixth round.
So when you think about it, like he came in as that underdog. He killed it. Why should he stay any longer? Like I get it that he didn't get to the Super Bowl this year, but
he said he was going to play until 45.
Yeah, but like at some point, you know when you know.
Just be a badass and just do it. You know what I'm saying?
But for everybody, but he'd do it for everybody else. And that I think is why we're here, T. We're here to say sometimes you got to call it for you versus sticking it out for everybody else, right?
Well, is he calling it for him or is he doing it for his family? He's still doing it for other people.
But isn't that ultimately for him because it's his family? I'm just saying.
This is why I don't get married.
I know. Hey, you and me both. You and me both. But I think that's the whole
Get in the way of my Hall of Fame football career, you bastards.
It's the whole reason we're here is to talk about that idea of, walking away, saying goodbye when it's time to, and not prolonging those things. I think we can all kind of relate in our lives to those things we let go on too long and shouldn't have. I can say that especially on on the career side, I have let things persist too long before.
Oh yeah, my last job.
Calling it right. Yeah, I think jobs are another one.
It was a miracle I didn't get fired sooner.
Yeah, for sure. And that's always tough. So I think this has been our theme as we've started this year has really been, getting rid of our insecurities and facing our fears and taking risks. And I think this is definitely one of them is it can be difficult to walk away. It can be difficult to say goodbye. It can be difficult to institute change, but I think we have to do it. I think it's important to being true to ourselves and not letting things linger longer than they should if it's not right for us. So how do you know when to do that?
So 2 things.
Yeah.
Firstly, I just like Linger longer. I like that.
I know there's a place called the Linger Longer Lounge here down the street from the Dick Francisco Studios.
That's
and
wonderful.
I was like, I was about to do a shout out to the Linger Longer Lounge.
Well, there it is.
Boom.
And secondly, is this where I announce Saif's retirement from the show?
Well, I kind of feel like, yeah, we have to drop that bombshell because I'm not sure that he's going to come back and do it himself, because what did he say to you? He had been needing to verbalize this for a long time and hadn't, but he might be done.
Goes along with what we're saying.
Yeah. And so he just didn't call it when he needed to call it, but now he has. It's kind of like when you have to put a dog down, right? Not too soon. When you have to put a dog down and you let it go too long and like you didn't put the dog down when you should have, people regret that all the time. And so I think that's another one of those scenarios.
How would you regret that?
So if you ever have to put an animal down, a pet, a beloved pet, it's obviously a really difficult decision to make. And you want to make sure you're not selfish in that decision. And you do it for the pet, not for yourself, of when it's time for them to be put down. And sometimes people wait a little too long. And so the animal lives in pain or lives in, a situation that's unfair to them because you were trying to just keep the pet around for you. And so that's one of those difficult situations of, do you know when to call it? And, when the right time is, for that pet's sake versus your own sake. But
yeah, you're going to definitely have to hope that we're living out there or somewhere out west at that point.
Because someone's going to have to call it for you.
Yeah. Somebody's
it's a hard decision to go through.
The
goodbyes aren't easy.
Yeah, none of these would be easy. The cats, right? But Frank, yeah. Absolutely not. You're gonna have to pry that dog from my fucking cold dead hands.
It's true. I know because I've been there. But yeah, I think, again, we learn through these experiences. And once you've been through it once or twice, you go, oh, I'm never doing that again. I'm going to know better when to leave my job or when to put the dog down or when to move on, and say goodbye or, make those life changes that have to happen. And so I wonder for Tom Brady, if it really was him getting to make this decision, and cancel out any of the noise around him, since it's so deafening around him.
Yeah. Does everyone have to put their dog down? Can Frank just die in his sleep? Is that a possibility?
So they can. They certainly can. Yeah. But you kind of, have to be prepared for the fact that he could have some medical reality that happens eventually as he ages, that you might have to make that decision for his quality of life, that it's unfair for him to live longer if it's a poor quality of life.
People tell me that bigger dogs are at higher risk for some medical issues.
For like
is this
everything.
Accurate?
Yes, that is very accurate. They also live less long than small dogs, which is also true for humans. So I'm going to live forever. And you all are going to die before me because I am smaller than you.
Right, so
that is kind of just how it works.
But
so the same thing with humans, though. Think about it. It's when people are put on like life support, for instance, right? That's a whole thing. We're talking about animals just because we're animal lovers, but the same thing happens with humans, that, they might not be in the situation to be able to call it, and you have to be able to know when to pull the plug and say goodbye. And dang, that's hard, right? I mean, I'm assuming it's really hard.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, goodbyes are terrible. There's a lot of fear associated with that. Did you make the right decision? Did you not make the right decision? I think that's probably what gets me tied up the most when it comes to
stayed with the uncle fucker way too long.
See, obviously. Yeah, I have stayed in relationships far longer than I should. Absolutely.
Yeah, so relationships.
I think we've all done it. Yes, I think we've all done that before. And what do you think that is? What made you stay as long as you did without calling it?
Oh, I had way too much other shit going on in my life. I was just like, all right, at least this is constant. At least I've got some ass going on here.
So that's such a good point, right? You can acknowledge that some of it was the comfort of the known outweighed the reality that you knew it might not be the best relationship for you, right?
But
at least it was something. You knew there was going to be ass there waiting for you. Yep, I think sometimes people make this choice.
TNA.
I'm learning this. Yeah. Which, here's the thing. If I were to rank the reasons people stay in relationships longer than they should, I rank that one as like I'm most supportive of that one. Because the one that really peeves me, like I have a lot of married friends, right? And it seems to be epidemic of my married friends that they're staying for all kinds of reasons. Like my family will, hold it against me, or I'd be embarrassed to get divorced, or it's for the kids. And I can understand these all peripherally, not obviously I can't relate to them with like the whole kids and even what people will think. But that seems to be such a weight that people hold on to, of this perception of failure. That if you're married specifically and your marriage failed, that you'd rather remain or make the choice to remain in an unhealthy marriage and an unhappy marriage than actually just call it, right? No one to hold them, no one to fold them kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, no one's going to fold, and they're going to keep just living in this loveless, marriage without calling it because of what their family will think, what people will perceive them, the concept of being a divorcee. And I'm like, wow, that's extreme to me as a non-married person and somebody who doesn't intend to ever get married. That seems wild to me. Again, we've all stayed in relationships longer than we should, but that
I
whole,
just had
like,
this
I know
stupid
it?
shit-eating grin on my face right now because I just want to go blow up some marriages.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
'Cause-
right. That was what you were on last time we were talking about your current porn fetish was being the home wrecker.
Yeah, it'd be great because they're all too scared to actually leave, so they're just gonna go.
Yeah, do you feel like
scandalous
you're
anyway.
doing a service? Like, do you feel like to some degree, because that's the other thing I think is when things just go unspoken, then everyone just lets it linger longer. I'm going to say that how many times? That's got to be somehow the name of this episode. That I think that's what happens when no one addresses it. It gets to just be shoved under the rug, right? But when it comes to light and you can't avoid it, maybe that's the role you're playing by being the homewrecker and the one that instigates the affair. Is like, now we can't avoid it because it's on camera on Pornhub.
Well, I'd prefer to not get caught if that's
Oh,
cool.
okay, that's fair. You wanted the finish still, okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to fish. Yeah.
You don't want to just have the pillow over your dick. Got it.
Yeah. To set the record straight, I do watch both.
Okay, that's helpful because the last episode we talked about this. I got left going, really? T's just into the pillow over the dick endings?
No.
Strange.
No, there's plenty of other ones where, stepson
that's
cream pies stepmom.
Yeah. See, and this is where I come back to the fluidity of relationships. And I always hope that, and I can attest to the fact that it's not as easy as it sounds or as glorious as I try to make it sound, of the fluidity of relationships allows for them to change as they need to. And then it doesn't have to be so scandalous. Like if a relationship needs to shift or a goodbye needs to be had or even a temporary goodbye of some sort to something needs to be said, that there doesn't then have to be the home wrecking perception issue. And then a threesome can just be a threesome, or it doesn't have to be an affair. People can just sleep with whoever they want to sleep with.
Right? Yeah.
But then maybe I'm missing out on the scandalous piece of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the exciting part. Dang. Okay. So then I guess my theory just went down the tube. All right.
Yeah, people definitely like the idea of doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Once they have
right?
permission, they're just like,
Do you think that plays into why people sometimes don't call it when they have to? Like, I guess specifically in relationships, but even jobs, right? That there's some like people could just quit their job and get a new one, or some people sit around like I'm thinking of the movie Office Space, right? Where not just stapler guy in the basement, but the whole scheme. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the premise of the movie in the end was these guys are so disgruntled with their workplace. They could just quit their jobs and go get another job, but instead they spend a whole ton of time scheming to like pilfer money from the accounts and do a great job of it. It's a funny movie, but like so much effort put into the scandal doing bad part versus just calling it, right? And so like I think the same, so I see it happen in my workplace all the time. People put so much energy into sabotaging the workplace versus just leave. why do we like the doing something wrong thing? It's so interesting to me because obviously that plays out in relationships then. Yes, instead of calling it, you want to go do something scandalous that feels bad. And I'm like, really? How about we just call it so that you can go do whatever that was that you needed to do if you can't do it under the pretense of your relationship? But people love being scandalous. What is that? Or the mystery, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what that is. But nonetheless, maybe that is, do you think that's a counter, like an antidote to fear? Is like doing something bad? I don't know. Because like maybe that gets us out of feeling scared. Now we feel empowered because we're being bad.
Yeah. And I think it also, it definitely puts us in a sense of control for sure.
Right. Okay. That makes sense
back to power, right?
Yes. Because when you're not doing that and you're
then if you
scared,
get caught, you're just like, yeah, that's right, Rick. Fuck you. I'm taking this.
Fuck you.
This dick. I'm taking this dick, Rick. Nothing you can do about it. You can just sit there and watch, bitch, or you can join. Fuck you, Rick.
Right? And then that's where then cue me going, God, I hope they join.
Right.
Now you've gotten into what I'm into.
Yes. This is what we call
the double stuff.
MFM.
Yes, MFM. Hey, I have a question about that since we're on the topic and knowing when to call it and, know when to hold them, know when to not. None of this has anything to do with what I'm about to ask. I was just trying to tie it in. But you said MFM. Here's what I'm learning just in rando conversations with people. And I know you're different, but because it is just a hot topic constantly, this idea of girl on girl or threesomes with women, of course, right? Because everyone finds that attractive and pretty and beautiful. Cool. Girls. I'm in. I'm 100% in. As soon as the topic comes up about MFM, two dudes and a girl, dudes get so weird about it. And I'm like, well, I don't think the ask is that you two are going to fuck.
Right.
I think the girl is doing all of the multitasking. So, like, give her a little credit in that situation.
Yeah.
But, like, dudes are either completely in or, like, so far from in. It's the strangest thing to me.
I've only done it twice.
And I know you have, and so that's why I didn't mean to completely change the subject on this one, but that one was it was a funny conversation that I had recently, and it was with people who were having this discussion about calling it and, making changes and, saying goodbye. It was a guy talking about his ex-girlfriend, and she was suddenly now into exploring things. And, and he was talking about her with other girls. And then I said to him, oh, well, she's with this new dude now, this like MMA guy. And I was like, oh, so is she going to let you hit that too then? And he was like, what? Like two dudes? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that would be weird to even suggest. And yeah, they get weird about it. Like, I'm fascinated by this. And he was like, cool with the goodbye to that topic.
Right.
He just wasn't cool with saying goodbye to her yet. But as soon as it came to being a second dude in the room, he was out.
Right.
And I was like, huh. Okay, so you've done it twice, but you survived it. Did you enjoy it?
The situations were both. I mean, I obviously enjoyed myself. We accomplished the goals. Everybody got what they were looking for there.
Okay.
But yeah, they were both super emotionless. Like not like
that's
I'm not
interesting.
Not and I don't need emotions connected to it, but it was just very
transactional.
And
okay.
and just to be clear, there was no money transactions or anything like that.
Yeah, but financial transactions.
There were no no monetary transactions. But
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no. But this was it was just we're here to do business, right?
Interesting. Okay.
We're here to just plow this.
Right. So
It was
that's
like
an
some of
interesting.
those, yeah. Like if you ever watch any of those like gangbang videos, there's some of them where
Yeah.
they're just there and they're just all just blowing loads. Probably falls under like the cum dumpster category.
Did they? Did they? Yeah, I'm taking note of that. Did they know each other beforehand? Like, were you the third person added to it, or was there like, did everyone mutually know each other?
So I was the third person. I got
Like,
in with
added in.
this. Yeah, I got added in once, and then I was banging this chick, and we added another dude in.
Okay, because that's the whole other like when, like I think about it when people
It was
add
great.
kids.
We just found some random dude on like Tinder or something.
That's excellent.
And we were just like, look, dude, here's the deal.
I feel like that's the way to go, though, for sure. Like, because as soon
Like, you
as
just
there,
come
people know
over.
each other, there's baggage, blah blah blah.
Yeah. We're like, you
So
just come over, this ass is gonna be ready.
that's the other thing I think when it comes to like people calling it. This is back to like the whole marriage thing, or even jobs and things like that. That I think everyone always tries to find ways to fix it, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
even thinking about Saif and the podcast, like if he needed to call it for lots of reasons, right? He could, maybe have found a bunch of excuses, or even tried to find ways to like maybe make it work for him, versus just saying, hey, I just need to be done. And you see that like in relationships, for instance, the like, well, let's have kids, or if we just do this, it'll make everything better. And so I think the sexual exploits are also another one. That's why I was curious if you were like added into this transactional experience to spice something up as the third person, and how that went, because I see that happen a lot too, where let's just try to make this work, and all the things people try to do just completely negate the fact that they probably should have just called it.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. No idea what the relationship status was with the two people in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they were married or engaged or something. I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's so fascinating.
Just told me to blow it inside of her, so I did.
But think about that.
Here's my wedding gift to you.
Which I'm down with. That's an amazing wedding gift. I freaking love it. But if you think about it, then the lengths that people will, ooh, pun intended, that people will go to try to keep something alive or keep something going or make something work. And like those seem like pretty extremes potentially, versus facing the quote unquote fear of just calling it, right? Yeah. That always fascinates me too, how the human psyche works that way. And we're all guilty of it. And maybe guilt isn't even the right word. We've all done it. How about that? Of going to some extreme lengths to make something work, and doing like crazy things that like we maybe like are completely out of character, or things we might be completely uncomfortable with.
Oh yeah, like
just
I stayed,
to
like
make
I said,
something
I
work.
stayed with the uncle fucker way too long.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then, yep, nope, moving on.
Right? Yeah. So then maybe, since we always like to try at least to help our listeners and ourselves with some, pro tips, even though we're completely not pros at this apparently, how do we get better at overcoming maybe those initial fears and knowing when to call it, right? Calling it when it's the time to call it, while we're ahead at very least.
Well, I've been doing a great job of it lately. I mean, again,
I love it.
I feel like I have no advice for people. Like, you just got to do it. Nike's right in this regard. Just do it.
Just do it. I think a lot of it comes back to all of our previous conversations about when you face a fear and you realize the sky didn't fall and everything's okay. It gets easier and easier the more fears you're facing. And so you actually realize that get over that initial hurdle, and it becomes a lot easier to do, like working out a muscle.
Yeah.
Being direct, knowing that life in and of itself is completely fluid and it's going to be okay. I think that's what I've been telling myself, right? Is I have to be honest. I have to be authentic. I have to say what I have to say. And as long as I'm okay with me, I get to let everybody else figure out if they're going to be okay with me, whatever that means.
Right. Yeah, the last week or two has been, like you said, it's fluid. The last week or two has been challenging, but
yeah, I've had a couple challenging weeks too, for sure. A few of them, heck, a month of them. It feels like it's been an interesting start. Hey, I think for the archives, is that what we say here? Today is February 1st, so it is the Lunar New Year, also known as Chinese New Year, Asian New Year, a New Year. So I've decided today is my new year.
Okay.
Since the last month has been wild and crazy, and so hence why I'm going with this theme of New Year, New You stuff still, because it's the New Year all over again today.
Cool. Yeah. So if the start of your new year hasn't gone well, you get to hit reset.
Yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're 100% hitting reset.
That's awesome.
And everyone else gets to hit it with us and say, fuck it, just start being honest, say it, face that fear. And if nothing else, T and I will be here for you even when no one else is.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be afraid. You've already got built-in friends right here.
Yes.
But you'd have to engage with us, so there's that.
Right. You can do so on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts by searching for the Catch the Sky podcast, or on Twitter at CTS Terry. You can find Dick on Twitter at I'm Dick Francisco, or on Instagram at the Dick Francisco. And yeah, come say hi.
Don't be afraid of goodbyes. Say hi to us. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, say bye to your old friends. Say hi to your new ones.
Yes, it's the new year today, all over again. Yeah, that would be my words of advice. Don't be afraid of a goodbye, because it doesn't even mean they're permanent. I had to say goodbye to you, T, last year.
God.
And I get to say hi to you again soon.
Yep. Tickets are booked. I'll
yes.
be back in the
So
Dick
excited.
Francisco stadiums.
Woo, it's going to happen soon. And seriously, before
Mid-March.
you know it, everybody, yes, it's a coming. What is that, like 6 weeks? Like, stop. That's crazy.
It won't be long. I might have the kitchen done by then.
Yeah, we're going to need some updates on that too, right? So
Yeah, I should probably take more pictures.
you definitely should, for posterity, for the scrapbook. Get some more. We want those deck pics. Send me deck pics.
I
the
still have to
deck
decide what to do with that. Because at some point I'm going to have to get the roof redone. And at that point I need to decide if the top deck's coming down. I think that would be the wisest decision. Right?
All this deck talk.
Right. So
All this deck
before
talk.
we get too carried
MFM.
before we get too carried away with deck talk, we will wrap this week's episode up. Thank you for joining us, Dick. Thank you for joining us with this conversation, and congratulations to Tom Brady, I guess, for retiring.
We're gonna say that. And goodbye, Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'll miss him. I fucking love
I
watching
know
him
he'll
dominate.
be missed. Missing is okay, but it was time to say goodbye.
Yeah, I missed my opportunity last year to just fucking take them in the Super Bowl. That was my advice. It was to take them in the Super Bowl, and then when I got up there and I saw that either team score a 2-point conversion, odds are 3-1. I was just like, oh, come on. The Chiefs and the Bucks. Of course, one of them was going to score a 2-point. It was a fucking shit. The Chiefs didn't score a touchdown until what, like the fourth quarter or something?
Yeah.
It was obscene. God. So, we'll get to our gambling episode at some point.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for gambling. We're ready. It's the new year. We're ready to gamble.
Yeah. Gamble our
Gambling
future.
on our new friendships and saying goodbye to our old ones.
Until next week, people, keep trying to catch the sky.